Tonight, before you fall asleep, somewhere in the world, a 25-year-old will quietly give up on a dream he has never told anyone about. Not because he failed. Not because someone laughed at him. Not because life was unfair. Tomorrow morning, he'll wake up, go to work, smile at people, come home, watch a few videos, scroll through his phone, tell himself he'll start next week, and repeat the same routine again. No one will know that tonight was the night his dream began to disappear. Because dreams rarely die with a loud sound. They die in silence. One comfortable decision at a time. Pause for a second. What if I told you that the greatest threat to your future isn't failure? It isn't competition. It isn't bad luck. It isn't even a lack of talent. It's something you've been rewarded for your entire life. Something that feels safe. Something that feels peaceful. Something most people spend their entire lives chasing. Comfort. The strange thing about comfort is that it never introduces itself as an enemy. It comes disguised as a reward. You've worked hard today. Take it easy. You're still young. There's plenty of time. One more day won't make a difference. And that's exactly why it's dangerous. Because comfort doesn't ask you to quit your dreams. It simply convinces you to postpone them. One day, then another, until the person you wanted to become slowly fades into the background of the person you've learned to accept. Imagine you're standing inside a museum. On one side of the room is a glass case labeled, "The life you could have lived." Inside that case is another version of you. Healthier, more confident, financially free, calm under pressure, disciplined, respected. Not because they were born different, but because they made different daily decisions. Now imagine walking closer. You notice something shocking. The distance between you and that version of yourself isn't measured in intelligence, or talent, or luck. It's measured in thousands of tiny choices that seem too small to matter. One morning they got out of bed when they didn't feel like it. You pressed snooze. They read 10 pages. You watched 10 short videos. They had the difficult conversation. You avoided it. Neither decision changed anything overnight. But neither life was built overnight. That's the first lesson most people never learn. Your future isn't created by your biggest decisions. It's created by the smallest decisions, repeated so often that they become your identity. The most dangerous thing about comfort is not that it makes you weak overnight. It doesn't. If comfort destroyed people instantly, everyone would recognize it. The problem is that comfort works slowly, quietly, almost invisibly. It changes your standards before it changes your circumstances. At first, you only make small compromises. You skip one workout. You delay one important task. You avoid one uncomfortable conversation. You tell yourself, it's just today. And maybe it is. But the brain learns from repetition. The things you repeat become the things you believe. If you repeatedly choose the easy option, your mind starts creating a story. Maybe I am not the kind of person who can do difficult things. And that story becomes more powerful than reality. Because human beings don't only act based on who they are. They act based on who they believe they are. Think about someone who wants to start a business. They have an idea. They have watched hundreds of videos. They have saved countless posts about success. They tell their friends, one day, I'm going to build something of my own. But months pass, then years. The idea is still there. The dream is still there. But the action never comes. Why? Because the dream lives in the future, and comfort lives in the present. The future says, build something meaningful. Comfort says, but what if you fail? The future says, learn a new skill. Comfort says, you're too busy. The future says, take the first step. Comfort says, wait until everything is perfect. And most people don't realize something important. Perfect conditions are often just another form of procrastination. Look at anyone who has achieved something meaningful. They did not start when they felt completely ready. They started while they were uncertain. The writer began before they knew people would read their words. The entrepreneur began before they knew their idea would work. The athlete began before they knew they could become great. Growth always begins in a place where confidence is incomplete. That's why comfort is so attractive. Because it removes the risk of embarrassment, protects your ego. If you never try, you never have to face failure. But there is a hidden price. When you protect yourself from failure, you also protect yourself from discovering what you're capable of. Imagine a bird that has lived its entire life inside a beautiful cage. The cage has food. The cage has shelter. The cage is safe. One day the door opens. The sky is right there. Freedom is waiting. But the bird doesn't fly. Why? Because the cage is familiar. The sky is unknown. The bird isn't choosing the cage because it loves being trapped. It's choosing the cage because it understands it. And humans do the same thing. We stay in situations that make us unhappy because they are familiar. A job we hate. A habit that hurts us. A routine that keeps us average. A mindset that limits us. Not because we truly want them, but because change requires entering a world where we don't know the outcome. This is where psychology becomes interesting. Your brain has a natural preference for certainty. It would rather choose a known problem than an unknown possibility. A known struggle feels safer than an unknown opportunity. That's why people sometimes stay stuck for years. Not because they don't want a better life. Because a better life requires becoming a different version of themselves. And becoming different feels uncomfortable. But here's the question. What if discomfort isn't a warning sign? What if discomfort is actually a signal? A signal that you're expanding. Think about a person going to the gym for the first time. Their muscles hurt. Their body feels weak. Does that mean the workout failed? No. The discomfort is evidence that adaptation is happening. The same principle applies to the mind. A difficult conversation can build emotional strength. A difficult goal can build discipline. A difficult challenge can build confidence. The things that feel uncomfortable today often become the things that make you stronger tomorrow. The tragedy is that many people wait until life forces them to change. A health problem forces them to care about their body. A financial crisis forces them to learn discipline. A major failure forces them to rethink their choices. But what if you didn't wait for pain to become your teacher? What if you chose growth before life demanded it? Because the cost of comfort is not simply missing opportunities. The deeper cost is becoming someone who no longer recognizes their own potential. And the next question is the most important one. Why does the human brain keep choosing comfort even when it knows comfort is holding it back? That is where the real battle begins. The psychology behind the comfort trap. There is something fascinating about the human brain. It has helped us build civilizations, explore space, create technology, and solve some of the greatest problems in history. But the same brain that can imagine the future can also destroy it, because your brain has one primary mission: keep you safe, not successful, not wealthy, not extraordinary, safe. For thousands of years, this was a survival advantage. Our ancestors lived in a world where every decision mattered. Finding food required effort. Facing danger required energy. Taking unnecessary risks could mean losing everything. So the brain developed a powerful system. Avoid unnecessary discomfort. Save energy. Choose the familiar. And for survival, that system was brilliant. But today, the environment has changed. The human brain is still using ancient programming in a modern world. The threats are different. There are no wild animals chasing most people. There are no daily battles for survival. But the brain still reacts the same way when it sees uncertainty. A new career, a difficult conversation, starting a business, learning a new skill, speaking in front of people. Your brain often interprets these challenges as threats. Not because they can destroy you, but because they can challenge your current identity. Think about this. Why is it easier to watch 3 hours of entertainment than to spend 30 minutes improving yourself? Why is it easier to check notifications than to focus on your goals? Why is it easier to plan than to execute? Because comfort gives your brain something it loves. Immediate reward. Your brain is attracted to things that create quick satisfaction. A message, a like, a video, A simple pleasure. The reward arrives instantly. But growth works differently. Learning a skill takes months. Building a business takes years. Improving your body takes consistency. Developing confidence requires repeated action. The reward is delayed. And the human brain naturally struggles with delayed rewards. Imagine two people. The first person receives $100 today. The second person receives $200 1 month later. Many people choose the first option. Why? Because today's reward feels real. Tomorrow's reward feels uncertain. This same psychology appears in everyday life. Person chooses comfort today, even though it creates problems tomorrow. They choose to sleep instead of exercise. They choose distraction instead of learning. They choose spending instead of saving. Not because they don't understand the consequences, because the present moment feels more powerful than the future. This is why successful people often look different. Not because they don't enjoy comfort. They do. But they have learned something important. Temporary comfort should never control long-term decisions. They understand that every choice is a trade. Every time you say yes to one thing, you are saying no to something else. An hour of distraction is a no to an hour of growth. Avoiding a challenge is a no to developing confidence. Choosing the easy path is sometimes a no to discovering your ability. Let's look at a real-life example. Imagine two people starting at the same point. Both want to become healthier. Person A waits until they feel motivated. They say, "I'll start when my schedule gets easier. I'll start when I have more energy. I'll start next month." Person B doesn't wait for motivation. They start with a small commitment. 10 minutes of exercise, a healthier meal, a short walk. At first, the difference is invisible. After 1 week, almost nothing changes. After 1 month, small differences appear. After 1 year, they are living completely different lives. The difference was not one huge decision. It was the collection of small decisions repeated consistently. This reveals one of the biggest secrets of human behavior. Your habits are not just actions. They are votes for the person you are becoming. Every time you choose discipline, you vote for a stronger version of yourself. Every time you choose avoidance, you vote for staying the same. And eventually, your identity follows your votes. But comfort has another hidden weapon. It creates the illusion that you are progressing. You watch videos about success. You save motivational quotes. You read about successful people. And for a moment, your brain feels like you are moving forward. But information without action creates a dangerous illusion. Knowing is not becoming. Watching someone transform your life is not the same as transforming your own life. You can consume thousands of hours of knowledge and still remain exactly where you started, because transformation requires participation. Think about a person standing beside a swimming pool. They watch swimming tutorials every day. They study techniques. They understand the theory. But they never enter the water because they are afraid of feeling uncomfortable. After years, they know everything about swimming, but they still cannot swim. Life works the same way. Many people become experts at learning about success, but they never practice the behaviors that create success. The comfort trap becomes stronger because it protects you from short-term pain, but it ignores long-term consequences. And this is the question every person must eventually answer. Would you rather experience the temporary discomfort of growth, or the permanent discomfort of regret? Because both paths have pain. The difference is, one pain builds you, the other pain reminds you of what you avoided. In the next part, we will explore the real price of comfort, how staying comfortable affects your confidence, career, relationships, and the person you become over time. Because comfort doesn't just steal opportunities. It changes your entire identity. The most expensive things in life are not always the things you buy. Sometimes, the most expensive things are the opportunities you never take, the conversations you never have, the skills you never learn, the risks you never attempt. Because some costs are not paid with money. They are paid with potential. And comfort has a hidden price that most people don't recognize until years have passed. Imagine meeting yourself 10 years from now. Not the version you hope to become, the version your current habits are creating. What would that person tell you? Would they thank you for the discipline you built? Would they be proud that you took chances? Would they be grateful that you stepped outside your comfort zone? Or would they ask, why did you keep waiting? Why did you know what you wanted, but never move toward it? Why did you choose what was easy when you knew you were capable of more? This is the question most people avoid. Because the future version of yourself is created by the choices you make today. One of the biggest costs of comfort is the loss of confidence. Many people think confidence comes first. They believe, once I feel confident, I'll take action. But psychology works in the opposite direction. Confidence is usually the result of action. You don't become confident and then face challenges. You face challenges, and that experience creates confidence. Think about someone learning to drive. On the first day, every movement feels uncomfortable. The steering wheel feels unfamiliar. The road feels overwhelming. But after hundreds of hours of practice, driving becomes natural. The person didn't wait until they felt ready. They became ready by practicing. Confidence is built through evidence. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you collect evidence that you are capable. Every time you avoid a challenge, you collect evidence that you are someone who avoids challenges. This is why comfort can become a dangerous cycle. You avoid something difficult. You feel temporary relief. Your brain learns, good choice. We escaped discomfort. The next time a challenge appears, you avoid it faster. Over time, avoidance becomes automatic. And eventually, you don't even ask yourself, can I do this? You automatically think, maybe this isn't for me. That is how comfort changes identity. Let's look at career. Many people spend years in jobs they don't enjoy. They know they want more. They know they have more potential. But leaving feels risky. Starting something new feels uncertain. So they choose the familiar struggle over the unfamiliar possibility. And there is nothing wrong with stability. Stability can be valuable. The problem begins when stability becomes an excuse to stop growing. A safe position can slowly become a small cage. Not because the door is locked, but because you forget you can open it. The same thing happens with skills. The world is constantly changing. New technology, new industries, new opportunities. The people who continue learning stay adaptable. The people who stop learning slowly become dependent on what they already know. Comfort says, you already know enough. Growth says, keep improving. And the difference between those two voices can completely change your future. Now think about relationships. Comfort can affect relationships too. Some people avoid honest conversations because they are uncomfortable. They ignore problems. They hide feelings. They choose temporary peace over real understanding. But avoiding a difficult conversation doesn't remove the problem. It only delays it. Healthy relationships are not built by avoiding discomfort. They are built by having the courage to face it. There is another hidden cost of comfort. It reduces your ability to handle difficulty. A person who constantly avoids challenges becomes less prepared when life inevitably becomes challenging. Because life does not promise permanent comfort. At some point, everyone faces uncertainty, a failure, a loss, a change, a difficult season. The question is not whether challenges will come. The question is, will you be strong enough when they arrive? A person who trains their mind through small challenges develops resilience. A person who avoids every challenge becomes overwhelmed by unexpected ones. Think about a muscle. If you never use it, it weakens. The mind works similarly. Courage is a mental muscle. Discipline is a mental muscle. Patience is a mental muscle. And every time you practice them, they become stronger. But every time you avoid using them, they become weaker. The good news is this: the comfort trap is not permanent. You are not stuck. The same brain that learned avoidance can learn courage. The same person who built comfortable habits can build powerful habits. Change does not begin with a massive transformation. It begins with a decision. A decision to stop asking, "How can I make life easier?" and start asking, "How can I make myself stronger?" Because the goal is not to remove comfort from your life. Rest matters. Peace matters. Recovery matters. The problem is not comfort. The problem is when comfort becomes your master, when it controls your decisions, when it prevents you from becoming who you could be. The greatest version of yourself is not waiting in a place where everything is easy. It is waiting on the other side of the challenges you keep avoiding. And in the final part, we will build the complete escape plan, a practical system to break the comfort cycle, rebuild discipline, and start becoming the person you always knew you could be. 53. The escape plan: how to break free from the comfort trap. For a long time, you may have believed that changing your life requires a huge moment, perfect opportunity, a sudden burst of motivation, a life-changing event. But the truth is much simpler. Your life changes when your daily decisions change. Not once, not occasionally, but consistently, because your future is not created by what you want. It is created by what you repeatedly do. And the good news is, the comfort trap that slowly built your limitations can be replaced by habits that build your strength. You don't need to become a completely different person overnight. You need a system, a way to train yourself to choose growth even when comfort feels easier. Step 1. Identify your comfort patterns. Before you can change something, you have to see it clearly. Most people don't fail because they lack information. They fail because they don't recognize their own patterns. Ask yourself, where am I choosing comfort over growth? Maybe it's your health. You know you should exercise, but you keep delaying. Maybe it's your career. You know you should learn new skills, but you keep waiting. Maybe it's your dreams. You talk about them often, but you rarely take action. The goal is not to judge yourself. The goal is awareness, because you cannot defeat an enemy you refuse to see. Step 2. Start with small discomforts. Many people make a mistake. They try to completely transform their life in one day. They create a perfect schedule. They set impossible goals. Then after a few days, they return to old habits. Why? Because extreme change creates resistance. Instead, train your mind gradually. Choose small challenges. Wake up slightly earlier. Read a few pages. Exercise for a short time. Have the conversation you've been avoiding. Complete the task you've been postponing. Small wins create a new identity. You start proving to yourself, I am someone who keeps promises. And that belief is powerful. Step 3. Stop waiting for motivation. One of the biggest lies people believe is, when I feel motivated, I'll take action. But motivation is unreliable. Some days you will feel inspired. Some days you won't. Successful people don't depend on feeling ready. They depend on commitment. A professional athlete doesn't train only when they feel excited. A successful entrepreneur doesn't work only when they feel confident. They understand something important. Discipline creates motivation more often than motivation creates discipline. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Confidence creates bigger action. Step 4. Replace instant pleasure with long-term purpose. The modern world is designed to give you quick rewards. A notification, a video, a distraction. But your greatest achievements will always require delayed rewards. The person who chooses learning over entertainment today creates more opportunities tomorrow. The person who chooses saving over unnecessary spending creates more freedom tomorrow. The person who chooses discipline over comfort creates more confidence tomorrow. Ask yourself, is this choice helping the person I want to become? That single question can change your decisions. When something feels difficult, it often means you are entering an area where growth is possible. The beginner feels uncomfortable learning. The speaker feels uncomfortable before the first presentation. The entrepreneur feels uncomfortable before the first investment. But after repeated exposure, the impossible becomes normal. Your comfort zone expands when you challenge it. Step 7. Become the person your future requires. Don't only ask, what do I want to achieve? Ask, who do I need to become to achieve it? Because every goal requires a different version of you. a stronger version, a more disciplined version, a more courageous version. Your future is not waiting for a lucky moment. It is waiting for you to become ready. Now imagine yourself 5 years from today. You wake up, you look back, and you realize something. The biggest change in your life did not come from one magical opportunity. It came from the day you stopped choosing comfort every time life became difficult. It came from the small moments when nobody was watching. The morning you got up instead of hitting snooze. The day you started learning instead of making excuses. The moment you took action even though you were afraid. Those moments built you. Remember this: comfort is not the enemy. A comfortable life can be beautiful. Rest is necessary. Peace is valuable. But comfort should be your place to recover, not your place to hide. Because a ship is safest in the harbor. But that is not what ships are built for. They are built to cross oceans, to face storms, to discover new places. And you are built the same way. You are not here just to exist. You are here to grow, to learn, to create, to become. So the next time you feel the pull of comfort, ask yourself one question. Am I choosing this because it helps me recover? Or because I'm afraid to grow? Because that answer may reveal more about your future than you think. The person you want to become is not created by avoiding challenges. They are created by facing them. One decision, one habit, one uncomfortable step at a time. This is the hidden cost of comfort. And now you know the way out. Choose growth. Choose discipline. Choose the future version of yourself.